Welcome. We are at Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. This is the first official council meeting since the election. And we did have our first day of orientation last Wednesday, followed by our organizational meeting, setting committees, and just having some small talk discussion last week. But this is the official first meeting of the new council. So welcome, Ashley, and welcome back, Cindy, Jonathan, welcome, Ted, and Hazel. And Councillor Colin Fleming's not with us tonight, but we expect him to be back for our subsequent meetings coming up. He had some commitments prior to the election that he is fulfilling, and we're very happy that he's able to do that. So, call the meeting to order at 5:16. And in the spirit of reconciliation, the town of Diamond Valley acknowledges and pays tribute to the traditional territories of the peoples of Treaty 7, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai First Nations, the Dene Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda, including Chiniki Bearspaw, and Good Stoney First Nations, and the Métis Nation of Alberta. So thanks for joining us tonight. Excuse me. I just remind everybody to silence their cell phones in the event of an emergency. We'll meet at the muster point. We have 2 exits here in the building. We've also got our TJs here so he can guide us to the appropriate locations. Washrooms are just through the back doors. And with all that being said, we are going to move to the consent agenda before we move to the consent agenda, we're going to move the poppy ceremony to the open portion, correct?
That's right, worship for 6 p.m.
Okay, so would that require an amendment to the agenda, or is it just, we're just moving it to the beginning? Like, do you want me to?
That'd be the regular agenda.
Right, so when we approve it, we'll say as amended?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Regarding the consent, I would love to pull out just the staff report, read the planning piece, only because I have a couple of questions on that if I can.
Okay, of course.
Yeah, I had a question.
The planning, just one.
Not the planning, well, sort of, and communication.
Your worship, I just asked too if anyone has questions on Q3 variance, because I could bring in finance manager if you did. And if
No,
not,
it's not.
it's just me.
Not on.
I was done finance.
Okay.
And mine is a question, Harry doesn't need to be here if you want to take it away.
Yeah, I'm just here for the rest.
Okay.
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 So everyone was okay with the variance report? Just so that I can leave that one alone for now. Okay, we're good with that. Councillor Bay?
I would ask to move the minutes of the 29th of October,
Sure.
this regular meeting.
The organizational meeting?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna move, you guys wanted the finance component?
No, there's a planning component with it.
First, right.
It's within the
Yeah.
staff reports.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna move those 2 off of the consent agenda, please and thank you. And
Probably just put them under 9.4, 9.5, I think.
If it works, your worship, we'll just put Q3 update.
okay, works for me. Okay. Everyone's okay on the consent agenda?
I'll give you that motion.
Okay, Councillor Gordon gives us the motion to adopt the consent agenda as amended. All those in favor? And that's carried. And then we'll move right along to the the regular agenda. So I take a motion to adopt that as amended.
Yeah.
And Councillor Holiday gives me that. So we've got 9.4 and 9.5. And we're moving, thank you very much, Councillor Gordon. We'll be moving the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 78 poppy presentation to the very beginning of the meeting at 6 o'clock. All those in favor? And that's carried as well. Okay, so for those of you, if anyone's on, I'm not sure if there is anyone online, but we'll be back at 6 o'clock for the regular meeting, which will be the open component. We are going to go into close for a conversation with the RCMP, the MPSA contract HR ATIA section 20. And I will take a motion to go into closed. Councillor Martin gives me that. All those in favor? Awesome. And Vern is going to let us know when we are off. Sorry, yeah, we're going to close at 5:21. Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting back to order at 6:13. We're gonna move straight into the regular agenda for those of, call the meeting back to order at 6:13. Did I say 6:13? Okay, my apologies. I'm a little spacey after that closed. We went into closed at 5:16 tonight to speak with the RCMP about some closed items. And we adopted our consent agenda. We removed 2 items from that, 1 report and some previous minutes that we're gonna have a discussion on later on tonight. And at this point, we're gonna move ahead with the regular agenda. And we'll move right into question period because there's no motions coming at a closed. It was just an information session with the RCMP. And so during question period, members of the sorry. Pumping ceremony. Oh my goodness, I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. Thank you very much, CAO Davey. Before we jump into, I didn't have a pen at the beginning of the meeting and I didn't write it down. Before we jump into question period, we have the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 78 Poppy presentation for us here on council, and with us, Paul Barton. Do we want to stand on right? Yeah, Paul Barton.
Yeah.
Paul Barton. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna stand here. Paul is going to get us set up.
Yeah, if council can just come into the front there so we can have it on camera for the public.
I can go stand here. Yeah, you guys go ahead. I'll stand down here. I'll stand down there.
Thanks for doing this, Paul.
Yeah.
Start with Hazel. I know it too well. I'm not gonna pin it on.
Thank you very much.
So look at this things will happen.
Thank you, Paul.
Somewhere in here.
Oh, thank you. Oh, very nice.
Then every time you put the seatbelt on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't fly
end up
off.
like everybody else with 5 poppies in the footwell of their car.
Very nice.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Talk to the government. Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Do.
Want to do it that way?
I'll leave the black center. Black.
Oh.
You have better things to do.
Well, hardly.
Thank you, Paul.
That's pretty important, Paul.
Well, what are you gonna do? It's about 2 minutes, yeah. I'll leave. The census there. And on behalf of Legion, hope to see as many as possible at Orfield High School Gymnasium on the 11th,
And
please.
that starts at 10:30, correct?
It does. Seated, please.
10:50.
10:15.
Thanks.
I may have a couple of jobs for you, council day.
I already know what one of them is.
It's the only person I know who can do any Planters Field without.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, we memorized it.
Yeah, congratulations, everybody.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, have a good night.
And you.
Thank you.
Okay. Space case. Here. Night, Paul.
Michael.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's leaves.
Yes, sir. Okay, and yes, just while we're on the topic, next Tuesday, November 11th at Oilfields High School, Black Diamond of the Diamond Valley side. There is, of course, the Remembrance Day ceremony. If you did not hear Paul speak to that, please be seated at 10:15. Ceremony will start right around 10:30, and you know, very traditional and a way of honoring those that have served, those that have lost, and yeah, so that's next Tuesday. So I'll be there, and any other counselor that wishes to come as well is obviously welcome to come too. Okay, with that being said, can they move on to question period now? I have a pen. I'll be so much better now. staying on track. I still remember 9394. I won't forget about that at the end of the meeting. Deputy Mayor will keep me in line now.
I do my best.
We will move the question period at 6:17. Members of the public wishing to ask a question of council, either electronically or in person, will have a maximum of 5 minutes each to present their question. Please, if you can, get the questions in, as soon as you can, so that administration has an opportunity to investigate. If there's a CPO that needs to be contacted, if the RCMP needs to be contacted, if Parks and Rec, anyone, the more time that we have, the better response we can get you, and hopefully in a timely manner according to your questions. So in front of me here, I do have 2 questions, comments. And these are from Kevin Eaglestone, of the Black Diamond side. And they're both from Kevin. So I will start with one, the one that's in front of me. Is council prepared to take any initiatives to remedy the outrageous amounts, in Kevin's opinion, of vehicle noise in town? Modified exhausts on diesel, gasoline, and motorcycles create a noise, not to mention the Jake brake, air brake on large commercial trucks. Idling laws are not modifications. Idling laws are not modifications are ignored. I cannot be the only one in town who has issues with these noises, with the noisemakers. The town of Okotoks recently did a sound monitoring project. Perhaps someone from the town could reach out to Okotoks and assess the utility of such a project. Definitely can't argue with Jake brakes and air brakes, because I was just sitting at the Tim Hortons stop sign before I came here, and a truck came in town using his Jake brake. So for sure, I understand some of that frustration. Did you want me to read them both out before we get a response?
Your worship, I can probably just answer this one quick. So,
Okay, sure.
yeah, totally understand it. When it does come to excessive vehicle noise, we actually do have legislative authority under our bylaws to address the issue. However, this is a specialized area that requires a decibel meter and calibrating device, which itself is costly, and train officers to operate the device properly. Implementing this also requires the development of internal policies governing its use. It is a costly undertaking and would need to be considered for next year's budget. Should council provide direction. We are closely monitoring the town of Okotoks vehicle noise sound monitoring pilot project, which they launched last summer. And we believe they do have an update that will go back to their council in early 2026. So we will be monitoring that. And then assess it afterward. Again, though, as part of their pilot project, they did include the installation of sound monitors and that. So this is not actually a small undertaking. It's quite costly.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. And just while we're on the topic, I do know some municipalities, because I've driven across Canada a handful of times. Some of them will just have the signs while you're entering the municipality that will say like avoid the use of. Is there any, could we easily install a sign like that at each end of the community, or are there bylaws as well that would have to be attached to those?
I'll have to get back to council on that
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay, it's just worth the ask.
Yeah.
I mean, a sign saying avoid the use of is not saying do not use, right? So there may be maybe just the wording alone on the sign gives the community the flexibility of not having to create a bylaw or anything like that.
Yeah, let me have a look at it, your worship. I'll get
Okay.
back to you. I know, in BC, for example, you see them going into every municipality. Right?
Absolutely,
So,
Cool. Okay, thank you for the information on that. Okay, let's go to the second one. And I will answer part of this question before I hand it back over to CAO Davey. I have been trying to contact municipal enforcement about a concern. I have not received a response. In years past, I was able to contact an officer directly, had their name and phone number, and would respond to a call. Now it is buried behind layers of bureaucracy. Similarly, department heads' email addresses and phone numbers were listed and citizens were able to contact them. Now, not so much. No contact numbers or email address for new council members. Transparency was an issue in last election. Seems like lip service. Why so secretive? Streamlining our services, costs things, speaking directly to the municipal enforcement. Well, actually, I'll let you handle the municipal enforcement because that one I can probably fumble that. But I understand the premise behind that one as well. Do we not have our emails up on the?
Yeah, maybe I can just kind of tackle all of
Okay,
it.
yeah, please go ahead.
If you have any. So, yeah, I'll actually use this opportunity, for again, public education here. So contacting municipal enforcement. So our municipal enforcement operates a 24/7 complaint line, which is managed by Foothills 911. So the number is 403-933-0334. No need to write it down. You can just Google it or ChatGPT, municipal enforcement, Diamond Valley. Dispatchers collect all necessary information from the caller, and if an officer is not on shift and the matter constitutes of an emergency, the call is forwarded to the RCMP for immediate response. All calls to complaint line are recorded and entered into our report management system, which tracks every step of the service request and serves as a permanent record that cannot be deleted by officers. So in accordance with provincial policy, all service files are reviewed by the manager of enforcement and subsequently by the director of public safety. So we have a double follow-up there, Matt and TJ. As per internal town policy, all calls for service are responded to based on the priority of the call and the availability of officers. So municipal enforcement strives to respond to all calls for service within 24 hours of dispatch. Officers are required to respond to all complaints and provide a resolution for the issue reported. So in particular on this one, for example, this resident between 2023 and 25 has 5 separate complaints that were received from the same reporting party regarding similar concerns. Each incident was promptly investigated and officers addressed the matter through education and communication. No enforceable bylaw violations were observed following officer contact. Based on the findings, there is no reasonable likelihood of successful prosecution for any of the reported incidents. And this matter appears to stem from an ongoing neighbor dispute that predates the amalgamation of the communities. The office has not received any documented complaints from other residents in the area regarding the vehicle in question or general vehicle noise concerns. So, yeah, obviously when this came in today, I looked at it. So the call came in yesterday at 2:50 in the afternoon, and the town responded today at 11:40. We reviewed it, we made contact, and the outcome is education was provided and the file was closed. So we do follow up, and we follow up quite rapidly. In terms of, yeah, so just generally communications. So the town uses a centralized response management system. So rather than calling 7 different people in the town, all residents have to do is just call our one general line, 403-933-4348, or email info@diamondvalley.town. Every call and complaint that comes in is tracked, and then it will go out to the appropriate staff member for follow-up. We try to follow up within 3 business days. And then, yes, the new town council information, bios, we sent those sheets out today, so we'll be taking council's photos on the 19th, and then we will have the new council's bios, photos, and information on the websites the week after that.
Perfect. Good, great.
I think it's worth mentioning, if I may,
Yes.
and I'll ask the CEO of this, how many phone calls did we receive on an average basis annually in a town our size right now?
Yeah, great question, Worship. 30,000 last year.
It's insane.
So when you start looking at this complaint volume, it costs a lot of money, right? Every bylaw complaint might be $200-300 the taxpayer funds. So I'm actually going to be looking at a frivolous complaint cost for next year that I'll be presenting to council. I want to be able to recover these costs.
Yeah.
It's not fair that a small number of citizens can maximize tens of thousands of dollars of costs to the expense of all the other taxpayers. So it's a two-way accountability.
Totally agree.
Councillor Holiday.
Yeah, I was actually gonna bring this up because I saw this on Facebook today. And in the communications, but you answered a lot about it. The one thing I think is missing though is, we don't say anywhere when they should expect a follow-up because, and I think people wonder, oh, it's a 24/7 complaint line, therefore I should get a response right away, but that's not realistic. And even I, as a counselor, didn't know for sure, is it 24 hours, is it 48? And so, and if it's a different thing for the municipal enforcement versus the other complaint line, I think we need to. Like, I don't mind waiting on hold for TELUS if they tell me how long my wait's gonna be, but when you just have to sit there waiting and waiting, it's really annoying, right? So if we can maybe post that on the website better, that, you know, you should have a response, you know. Depending, I mean, everyone knows that there's different circumstances, but if we can at least be more transparent about what our goal is to meet for target, then people know that they don't have to be mad at 8 o'clock the next morning because it had 24 hours hasn't even gone up, so.
Point well taken, your worship. Yeah, we'll have that up. And so to be clear, we generally, the maximum extent I want to see is within 3 business days, but many of those are much before. Some are right on the spot, some are within a few hours, but we'll definitely add that too, because I can see how it's confusing.
And like the emergency room, to say it's based on priority, right, that you're not, it's not first come, first serve, it's based on the emergent, especially for municipal enforcement. So I think that even saying that, that's good education for people to have when they, you know, send a complaint or when they call the line saying, our goal is this, but it's based on priority.
Yeah, we can, I think we can address that, your worship. For the 24/7 line, I can see the confusion too, because it's a third party through Foothills 911. Frankly, to make any improvements on that, we'd either just have to go back to business hours for our staff to answer it, or we take a bit of a loss there. So it's outsourced.
Okay, great. Appreciate having the information for us, CEO Davey. No further comments or questions. Let's carry on, team. So I will close the question period at 6:29, and I guess in closing it, there's no motions, but is there an email going to be sent to Kevin in regards to this, or is the expectation that he just watched this at his leisure?
Thanks, worship. We can follow up, but his file was closed at the same time,
So
so.
the CPO, because I know what I've called and complained about things, and they ask if the CPO is gonna follow back with me, or if it just leave it be.
We'll follow up.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, just to maybe put that to bed.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, appreciate that. Okay, and potentially the CPO did, I remember them asking, do you want the CPO to contact you when the matter is followed up on? I said, no, I'm just bringing it to your attention type thing, so. Okay, great, so yeah, we'll close the question period 6:29, and let's go all the way down. I'm not gonna read them all. We're gonna go to bylaws and policies. We're gonna go to 8.1. Council 002, public participation policy review. I will pass this over to CAO Davey.
Thanks, your worship. So this is part of a new council orientation. It's mandated by the province. And it's also within our policy to review every 4 years. So first meeting, thought it would be beneficial. So public participation policy, which is council 002, it's less than 2 years old from early 2023. This policy is mandatory. It's part of the MGA. And this policy is based on a template provided by Alberta municipalities. So any potential amendments council wants to see, we can put the motion on, but we'll have to then go back and check it to make sure that it conforms to the template. I'll just run through the slides and then open the floor for any questions. So
sure.
Public participation opportunities, we have 3 requirements. So when statutory requirements exist, it's like a public hearing. When administration determines that engagement will add value to a decision-making process, or when directed by council. So an example of that would be municipal development plan. We approved the communications and engagement plan. And also town halls, like that you had back in 2023, I believe, for the utility rates. Next slide, please. So just the highlights of council responsibilities, and this is taken right out of the policy. So council has to approve public participation plans when presented. So again, communications and engagement plan as part of the MVP. Consider the input obtained through the engagement. So for example, council received that feedback through 2 what we heard reports and made some 50 amendments to the MVP as a result. Ensure appropriate resources are provided to support public participation opportunities. So again, council allocated funds as part of the MDP budget to conduct that. Promote and support public participation. So again, we saw that through town halls, surveys, a bunch of different things for the MDP. And then consult with myself when directing a public participation plan, which is what we did when we came back for the MDP. Administration responsibilities. Develop public participation plans when required by the policy or when directed by council. So again, the example I keep using, since it's the most recent, was the communication engagement plan as part of the municipal development plan. Implement approved public participation plans, report findings of engagement to council. So we've got it published on the website. We had 2 major what we heard reports over a year as part of that MDP communications and engagement process. And then evaluate the effectiveness of the participation plans, tools used, and if necessary, communicate to council and the public. So the CEP covered the whole gauntlet. We did online surveys, we did dial a planner, we had a World Cafe, public house, town hall, and 3 public meetings. Next step would be the land use bylaw. So once council decides on that, we would have a whole other gauntlet of communications and engagement plan to achieve the intent of this policy. And final slide, please. So other components of the policy, it has to comply with other applicable pieces of legislation. Public participation standards, province-wide, obviously have to be respectful, inclusive, and accessible. Standards for public participation plans and reporting and evaluation on engagements. So again, that's why we put the 2 what we heard reports on the website, and the next phase of public participation. And again, it's because land use is what we're dealing with heavily right now. So we'll go from the MDP to the land use bylaw. I think that's it, your worship. I should mention too, in the policy, it does reference FOIP, Freedom of Information Act. Now it's switched to ATIA, Access to Information Act. So that'll have to be amended. And with that, open any questions, comments, amendments.
Council, anything? Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us of this. There's a question I have regarding the evaluation of the actual effectiveness of our public participation plan. I was hearing consistently, the buzzword of the day, transparency, right? I mean, it was even referenced today. I think we're very transparent. 2 pieces that for me really enhance transparency, effective communication, but also engagement. So when we look at and I'll just use the MDP, have you had the time to evaluate the effectiveness of that engagement? And if so, what would be the measure? Because I know some of our surveys were less than we were hoping for as far as numbers were concerned. We had great responses at the open house, public hearings, but a little bit low on the survey engagement side. So in your evaluation, what will we do better next time?
Yeah, thanks, your worship. It's a great question. So we had a fairly aggressive timeline for the MDP.
Yeah.
We did it in a year. Normally you do it in 2. So that would allow for more time. I'll keep coming back to it. Democracy is expensive. So engagement costs money. So in the budget, if we want to put more engagement in, costs will go up, right? To run 1 engagement sessions, $10,000, right? It's quite high up there in terms of cost and staff resources. So a lot of the feedback we had with the MDP, as we know, there was a lot of different opinions on the MDP, which we tried to reflect with those 50 amendments that council put in place to find that balance. Moving forward for the land use bylaw, and this will be an item at the next agenda for the budget, is if you want more engagement, extend the timeline and extend the budget.
Yeah, if I may have follow up on that
Of
one.
course you can.
I don't know that we need more opportunities to engage, but better communication of how to engage. Because I think there's a bit of a gap on that. I heard from a lot of residents that I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know where can I find that, right? So might be something for us to review on how to communicate the opportunities for engagement rather than have more. Because I'm not convinced more are better. It's just getting more people to engage in the opportunities that we currently have. That would be my concern.
Fair enough, your worship. And Yeah, I agree. I guess
Yeah.
there's also citizen responsibility,
I totally agree.
right? I'm not gonna be telling people to go on Facebook. We have a website. And as a citizen in Canada, you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
Participate.
Yeah.
And if you choose not to elect that democratic right, then it's your right. And I'll leave it at that.
No, fair enough. Thank you.
Councilor Holiday.
Yeah, just my experience on council, the one statutory requirements exist part. That's probably one that, especially when it comes to land use and planning matters, that because rules have changed or we changed some things, it's really unclear. So I'm just wondering if we could get better training. Like, I know we have a few more training sessions coming up, even like a cheat sheet of what those statutory requirements are and what, because we do have the opportunity to exceed statutory requirement, right?
Yeah.
And so it would be good to have the baseline, like a little something on my desk, taped to it saying, this is
This is the minimum.
this is the minimum. That would be really helpful because especially, and I know now that we don't have an NPC and we do more stuff in-house, like we see less stuff, but it still comes up as residents will say, well, I didn't know. And we're like, well, are you an adjacent landowner? And what was the requirement? It's not always clear as council. So some more training on that cheat sheet would be lovely.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Thanks, your worship. Yeah, so to kind of combine both the comments there, both deputy mayor and the councillor will probably come back committee of the whole.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some of these things and see what council wants to see.
Okay, final comments on that, council? You're pleased?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think,
I think
Well, some-
there should be a motion.
no, I didn't think so. I didn't think I saw that.
No motion required,
Just
your
give
worship.
you-
Let's move on to action items. Okay, this one is for discussion purposes only, 9.1. Proposed 2025-2026 electoral boundaries. This is in regards to what is going on in the province,
Yeah.
which has just recently come to our attention. Thank you very much, Western Wheel, because nobody else told us. So I will let Adam kind of spearhead this one to start us off. And if we want to have a very kind of general discussion about next steps, let's do that and keep on rolling.
Yeah, thanks, your worship. And again, my thanks through to Councillor Holiday for bringing it to my attention through the Western Wheel. So the Electoral Boundary Commission has been stood up for November and December. Obviously, the population of Alberta is growing, so every X amount of years, the province looks at rebalancing those to get somewhere around 55 or so thousand folks per electoral area. I think they're looking at increasing it by 2. So right now, could you bring up the 2 maps, please?
Which one do you want first?
Let's go with option A. So
Is that the
the, yeah, I think it's the high river. So right now, the commission is proposing 2 boundaries. They have an option A and then they have an alternative. Just wait a second here, yeah. And this were the maps too that were in the Western Wheel article, which is a good visual of it. So the new proposal would be High River Vulcan. And you can see the boundary has changed significantly. And then let's just compare that to option B, which is called Okotoks Diamond Valley. So town of Okotoks and the county and us have been discussing this all week. And what is currently being proposed, led by the town of Okotoks, is potentially a 3rd option that probably more closely resembles our current boundary. And what they're looking for is feedback from us and the county on if we would be open to that. If we were open to that, they would provide us some further information and I would bring that to council on December 3rd. The council would have the opportunity to endorse a 3rd option or to provide a different opinion to the Electoral Commission. So how it looks like from here is based on council's feedback. Should you wish to make a resolution, we will then forward that to the Electoral Commission.
Okay, great. I was speaking with CEO Davey today in regards to this and, you know, our absolutely booming number of 5,400 probably carries very little weight when it comes to the provincial oversight. So I suggest we work with Okotoks, who are one of our best partners, if you will, and allow them to kind of spearhead the conversation and see what they have for us. We've got a lot of relationships with Okotoks in regards to like the pool and garbage collection. And, you know, we obviously want to maintain as many of those services and maintain a very positive relationship with Okotoks. If they want to explore a third map, by all means, I don't see why we wouldn't allow them to do that. And then once we have a look at that, I think we can make a decision, you know, where to proceed. If we endorse it, you know, do we write a letter? Do we say nothing? Or do we want to waste is maybe not the right word. Do we want to use our own administrative resources to come up with an even better map? Which again, we're a very small town comparatively speaking to both High River and Okotoks. I think we allow these guys the opportunity to use the resources that they have that they're clearly already willing to use. And then we just kind of piggyback on top of that. I don't know if council has any further comment. Councillor Bain?
For most of the reasons that you have mentioned, I definitely want to take a look at what Okotoks has to suggest. I know that in my past life as a councillor in Black Diamond, I believe that I developed a decent working relationship with both RJ Sigurdsson and his office manager and with the current mayor. So I want to see what they have to say.
Okay. Any further comment? I mean, we're waiting right now. So, CEO Davey?
So thanks, Your Worship. Pending any other feedback. So what I'll do then is I will take this back to Okotoks and say, yeah, we're open to other suggestions. And then we'll bring back a third option for our council to consider December 3rd.
Okay. Sounds great. Yeah, final comment?
Yeah, I mean, this is, as far as actually making a political difference versus it's a matter of, for people to get caught up in like being identifying with who they're voting with in a riding and who to talk to. And so, you know, Farmer Dan that lives a minute south of me isn't included in my riding, like, you know, and most people, if you look at around the Diamond Valley area, this map even doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make sense for Okotoks. So I'm totally happy with them coming up with something better. But I think that we should support it, but yeah, use their administrative power. I totally agree with it. But I would hope that their third option does take a little bit bigger of a swoop around the people that identify with being part of Diamond Valley or being part of Okotoks. So
More of the county.
And I could convey that back, Your Worship, because they are looking for some feedback. And I know that I think I don't want to put words into their mouth, but I think the intent here is to have good alignment between Okotoks, Diamond Valley, and the county, so we can have sort of one boundary for MLAs, IMCs, are just sort of our intergovernmental piece. So we can convey that back.
Great.
And to that point, if I may, that's the key point about this is the relationship built with the MLA and very impactful, as you mentioned, Ted, having that relationship we built with RJ.
Mhm.
So important.
Mhm.
Because his concerns will be ours, hopefully. So.
Okay, awesome. I don't believe you needed a motion for that, right? You're just gonna take that back to Okotoks?
That's right, Your Worship.
Okay.
We'll come back for a motion on the 3rd.
It's really up to council if
If
you want
he's good.
specific, if he's fine. Yeah, I think at this point, it's just a dialogue component of it, like just building that, you know, hey, we're willing to have the conversation.
Record on that.
Okay, all right, so let's continue on. That was 9.1. I got a little bit of house cleaning to do for 9.2. So
Oh, that's for the police committee.
yes. Yes, I think I just,
I think Susie's young.
Yeah.
For the police? Well, no, I don't think we did one, but I'm willing to give up landfill as an alternate and give that to Colin. So because he has SCFS was taken away, and then I can be the alternate for police.
Done.
Good motion.
Yeah, done.
That's,
Yeah.
was my solution.
I'll let Verna capture some
So
of
my
that.
motion is to change the Foothills Regional Landfill Committee alternate to Colin Fleming. And
That's first.
Yeah, just make that one, and then I'll do the appointments after.
Okay.
Does that work? Okay. Okay, so that's a motion. Verna, are we okay with that?
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
It's
That's fine.
bouncing around between,
I know, since we have a couple here in front of me, so I just want to make sure that we don't get,
okay, so I
So,
apologize,
Colin
Counselor Holiday,
Fleming,
you
as you-
wanted to give up the landfill?
yeah,
Okay. Turn it. Speak to Counselor Fleming.
that's,
That's-
And then you will be the,
I'll make those motions afterwards, Verna, if you like.
I will need the words for that.
Yeah.
But we can, I'll just amend the schedule and you can accept the schedule as amended, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay,
So you don't want the individual motions?
I do, I need the
Okay.
words, I have to send them to the province, just like the library.
So, this might be why we're checking for ethnic area.
Okay, and the other changes are good?
Yes, I don't know if there were, I think those are, we're basically just giving one to Colin, giving the policing alternate to Cindy. And then I'm just gonna read through the other ones because we're setting them as 2-year terms, right?
So,
Yes, so yes, we have to have a 4-year term somehow, but we
Right.
can't have more than 3.
Okay,
So
2
I broke it up.
2 + 2 = 5.
we should vote on the first motion, then
Yeah.
do the proposed option.
Sure.
Motions.
Okay, so the first motion is from Counselor Holiday to make Counselor Fleming the alternate for Foothills Regional.
Services
Right.
Commission.
Services.
Okay.
Yeah, that's flat landfill.
Okay.
It's definitely not a dog.
Okay. Okay.
Anything but a dog.
Okay, so for that one, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go through these motions or appointments. And my assumption is that I'm gonna read these through, correct, Verna?
Sure.
Okay, so the council appoint, yes, the council appoints Cindy Holiday as a municipal policing committee alternate council rep for a 2-year term from November 5th, 2025 to October 31st, 2027. Cool with that, Cindy? Okay, all those in favor? Perfect. The council appoint. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
The council appoint Counselor Colin Fleming as a municipal policing committee council rep for a 2-year term from November 5th, 2025 to October 31st, 2027. All those in favor? Perfect. Number 3, that council appoint Ted Bain as a municipal policing committee council rep for a 2-year term from November 5th, 2025 to October 31st, 2027. All those in favor? Okay. The council accept the amended schedule of council committee representation and direct administration to provide copies to council, notify all affected stakeholders, and post the information to the town's website. Everyone's okay with everything?
Yeah.
Perfect. All those in favor? Ah, excellent. Okay. Thank you for bringing all that to our attention. We knew there was going to be some house cleaning last Wednesday, so really appreciate Verna and Iris, I'm sure, for looking into that for us. And that is done. Okay, let's keep on rolling. 9.3 proclamation World Town Planning Day, November 8th. Thank you very much. Would you like to read it out for us?
Yeah, please.
Please.
Uh, council proclaims November 8th, 2025 as World Town Planning Day in the town of Diamond Valley.
Okay, council, any comments before I declare this such a day? All those in favor? Fantastic. All right. Declaration to have November 8th recognized as World Town Planning Day in Diamond Valley. From the parks we go to the streets we travel to the places we call home, the discipline known as planning is interwoven within our lives. Every day, planning professionals work in communities like Diamond Valley across the country and around the world to make a positive difference in how we live, work, and play. By leading the design and management of land and resources, planners help to protect our environment, promote health and well-being, preserve cultural heritage, and deliver community features that contribute to better outcomes for all. On November 8th, the Canadian Institute of Planners, Alberta Professional Planners Institute, and the Global Planners Network will join other planning organizations worldwide to celebrate the 76th annual World Town Planning Day. On this noteworthy day, planners come together with fellow community builders and citizens to celebrate the purpose of this important profession. World Town Planning Day represents an opportunity to reflect on the vast accomplishments of planners and to encourage curiosity and collaboration in solving modern changes. Therefore, in acknowledgement of this historic occasion, I, Mayor Brendan Kelly, call on the town of Diamond Valley to declare November 8th as World Town Planning Day. It is more important than ever before to support registered professional planners in Diamond Valley, Canada, and around the world as they purposefully plan for current and future generations. And that's that.
You just don't have what you're. Crazy.
Do you want? Man, I'll bring up the Mayor Crane version if you really want. I'm sure he's watching. Yeah. Sounded like a Christmas fairy tale the way that it was written in the first paragraph. It was nicely written. Sounded like I was telling my kid a nighttime story. It was kind of weird, just the way it was coming.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
Just missed the once upon a time.
That's how it felt. Okay,
Can I make a motion that we only read the therefore for the.
Moving forward.
Moving forward?
Yeah.
Can I make that as a motion?
Eliminate the preamble.
Eliminate the preamble and just declare it?
That's among ourselves.
I don't think you need a motion, but you can if you like.
Or is that disrespectful?
I don't mind reading it. I'm not
I
that
know
bad.
some of these get really
Yeah.
long.
Indeed.
Well, why don't we choose when we do have one?
Okay, I'll leave
Is
it,
that fair?
but I will give you the option.
Discretionary.
You can tell me.
Okay, if you
I'll
just
look at
do the, okay.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I definitely understand your point of view.
Yeah.
But that one was probably one of the most mellow ones that we've had in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Crane, if you're watching.
It was his first proclamation as mayor, so let him have it. Just let him have it.
Okay,
Good.
let's jump to 9.4 Q3 report. What did we want to talk about?
Yeah, so thanks for these reports. They're so informative. I do have a question. I think Carrie might be on the line, but I'll direct it through our CAO. Regarding our planning, and so we have the files on hand here, so many different files that our planning team is working on. One area that I do have a slight concern about is the Royal Ave Northwest development. We approved that to be an R1N, our narrow lots. And so the question I have regards in the MDP, in our infill, section 6, whatever that may have been, we amended that to include architectural design controls, our guidelines that must be put into our land use bylaw. Do we have the opportunity to put that into place prior to the development application being approved here? Because it's infill and I really want to make sure we have those design guidelines enforced prior. So obviously that's going to take some staff time. So there's a broad question. It's more of an administrative inquiry, to be honest, because we need to see what kind of timeline it looks at, what it's going to take to amend the LUB to make sure we have that enforced.
Yeah, thanks, your worship. I'll certainly have to get back to council in writing on this one. Excellent question. I think now we can see with the MVP in place, I think we're going to see some more of this too.
Yeah.
with that sort of gap between MDP and now LUB. I don't know if Carrie's on the line, if I want to give her any comment. But it'll need to
She
be,
needs to
yeah,
comment tonight, because I knew it was a fairly detailed answer that was required, because there's a lot of time involved.
yeah, okay, thanks for watching. I'll get back to council in writing. It's a good question.
Thank you, sir.
For the planning portion as well. You answered my communication ones already with your question period, but it was great to see $140 million worth of new
Yeah.
building value. And we, you know, up through Q3. So that's fantastic. And I ask for it every year at budget time, so I'm gonna ask her it now, is to see that tracked over year, like what, how much new taxes we're getting from newly built things,
Yeah.
because we know $75,000 is 1% tax increase. So if, I know approved doesn't mean it's actually built in time for December 31st when our assessor reassesses things. But if we have been spending more money on planning department and increasing that, as well as we change fees, but just to see the growth, because I think pre-amalgamation in Turner Valley side, we were around like 30 million a year was like this boom year of new value. But just if we could see, if I would like to see if the numbers show what growth, like the real effect growth is having on our tax dollars, so we can, you know, share that with residents. And to show the trend, I don't know if we can get anything pre-amalgamation, but definitely the last, 23, 24, 25, to see if there has been an increase in new construction and what that's, the impact that has on our bottom line. So,
That's the one you're referring to, right? Just under 15 million,
yeah, that's.
the total reported building
Yeah.
value. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, your
I can't see
worship.
very well from here, but you know what, I ask this every year, so Carrie, I'll remember from last year.
Yeah, hear you loud and clear, your worship. So, how many more tax dollars do we get in 2025? What does that value actually equal into
Exactly.
more tax in the coffers?
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna have it for version 1 of the budget, because that's it's going to publication next week, but for draft 2, I think we can.
It's even actually mostly relevant, like when we actually set our tax rate bylaw in May, June of next year, like that's really when people are talking about their taxes. So I don't even, like, yeah, it's nice to know now, but I would really like to know it in time for that. And it might be a way to help for people to understand what growth really does mean for us. So.
I like the idea of having it during budget time as well, because it helps us with some answers for strategic growth regarding our planning team, and help us to support them to make sure that builds actually do happen.
Well, yeah, because really, if we're spending a whole bunch of money on planning, but we're not seeing it for anything actually being built,
Exactly.
that's terribly
Exactly.
expensive.
That's the point.
Yeah.
And if we are seeing it built, then it's worth the investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great question.
Q3. Any more questions for CEO Davey?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, check it off the list. 9.4 is moved, done. And did you have your questions answered for the minutes 9.5 in regards to the committees?
Actually, no.
Okay,
On the 29th, a motion was made to adopt the council committee representation schedule as presented. One was presented,
Oh, it should be as.
we did view it, but there's nothing in the minutes that covers what we approved. I'm wondering if this is standard to say, yeah, we'll approve it without even seeing what it is in the minutes. That's my question.
Yeah, committee schedule, right?
Sure.
You're making a good point.
So normally, sorry.
Go ahead.
So normally we would have had an attachment on the agenda for a presentation. There wasn't one for this. So it got presented and amended on the screen live in the meeting.
Okay.
So that was what we ended up with as the document in the meeting.
And what's the error checking, assuming that there is a possibility of making an error between what was on the screen and what we're seeing now with the amendments? What check balances are?
Well, usually both of us are taking notes
Okay.
and we go through it. If we're unsure, we can go back and review the video and check it.
Okay.
If you want that presented in a different way, that's an option too.
No, it just answers the question.
Okay.
Good question. Good question.
Yeah, I hate watching myself on camera, so I don't go back to watch a video unless I absolutely have to. But does that video camera capture the screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Anything that's on the
Anything that's on
whiteboard
there.
is in the meeting.
okay.
Mhm.
So to me, that's about as transparent as you get if it's on the video.
COD.
Yeah, thanks, your worship. Yeah, I think from the general philosophy, because now we were mandated to have this all recorded. The concept of physically writing out the minutes is quite dated because now it's on video. It's visual.
Yeah.
So that's the philosophy.
We're starting to make.
Yeah.
Forward, you said. Okay, happy?
Yeah, thank you.
Answered?
Good question.
Can I, sorry, I just want to go back to something that Counselor Holiday was saying. So when we were talking about transparency this evening and then talking about our tax dollars of like how they're gonna change if we had something that showed our growth and how it affects our taxes. I know that when we were in orientation, we actually had a really good example of a breakdown of where like tax dollars and things go. Specifically, this is how much you pay for the library, this is how much you paid for arena. Based on that, is there something that we could possibly be ready in that time as well? So we could have better conversations and more transparency around that time as well?
Thanks, your worship. So like,
Thank you.
are you talking about that, the receipt
To the receipt.
budget time?
Yeah.
We'll have that for, it won't be ready for this budget. It'll be ready to go out with
Yes.
actual tax notice.
Yeah.
So that will be the visual.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, we will certainly have that. And we'll bring actually a sample to council before then.
Sorry, you're just.
Okay, we're gonna go back into closed. So, yes,
Sorry, not just yet.
that's okay. So,
You pulled the org meeting minutes off of the consent, so they have not been adopted. So now I need a motion to adopt them. And I can tell you that the motion number 8 has been corrected. That term expires on October 31st, not October 3rd. They've been corrected for signature already.
okay,
So,
motion.
and make,
Approve the minutes of the 29th of October as presented.
Thank you. All those in favor? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, no problem, Aaron. Thank you for an intent. Okay, at this time, you guys want to take 2 minutes while we move in closed? Okay, so we'll make the motion go into closed when we come back. At 7:05, we'll have a couple minutes to,
recess.
yeah, we'll have recess.